Hello, I'm Paul Ecoffey and I will present to you the work that I did with Jean-Baptiste André and Nicolas Brodèche about learning to cooperate in socially optimal way in Swarm Robotics. First of all, I'll give you a brief summary about Swarm Robotics and cooperative behavior. I will show you the dilemma between individual adaptation and cooperation. Next, I will present the mechanism of partner choice, which helps to solve this dilemma. I will then present the model we have created to test the effectiveness of this mechanism and present the result of this model to you. Here, we are in the context of Swarm Robotics, where we have more than several hundred robots with limited computation and communication capabilities. We want these robots to coordinate so as to collectively solve a task, such as a foraging task or an exploration task. There are many methods to program the behavior of each robot. We can choose between manual programming, or we can use a learning algorithm to automatically design the optimal behavior. In this work, we wish to obtain a population of robots that act cooperatively although each robot is a self-interested learner. Our question is therefore to determine whether it is possible to prevent individual learning from blocking collective efficiency. To do so, we want to use the mechanism of partner choice to teach robots to act cooperatively. Indeed, there are many situations in which acting cooperatively is not straightforward for self-interested agents. The most classical example, which has been studied extensively in game theory, is the prisoner's dilemma. In a prisoner's dilemma, two agents interact together. Each individual's goal is to maximize its payoff. Each agent can either cooperate or defect. If an agent cooperates, it pays a cost to give a payoff to his partner. If it defects, then it pays no cost and its partner gains no payoff. It is then in the interest of the agents to defect so that they do not incur any cost. This causes agents to get no payoff at all. However, if they had both cooperated, they would have each had a greater gain. The individual adaptation of agents leads them to be suboptimal. How then can we lead these agents to be collectively optimal? Several mechanisms identified in both economics and evolutionary biology help to overcome this dilemma. This can be done either by giving agents the opportunity to give a feedback on their partner's behavior, such as with tit for tat or punishment strategies, and another family of solutions is to allow agents to choose with whom they wish to interact. These are partner choice mechanisms. How does partner choice lead self-interested individuals to act cooperatively in social dilemmas? Self-interested agents who are able to choose their partner will want to choose them in a way that maximizes their own gain. This means that they will only agree to interact with the best partners. Since all agents in the population have the same goal, the only way to be chosen as a partner is therefore to be as efficient as possible in the eyes of potential partners. This means that in order to be chosen, individuals must cooperate. Partner choice, however, has constraints to be viable. These results identified by the evolutionary game theory can be summarized by the following rule. The marginal gain obtained by interacting with a good partner must compensate for the cost paid to find it. This induces two important rules. Meeting potential partners must be easy in order to minimize the cost of finding good partners. Furthermore, interacting with a partner must be over a long period of time in order to maximize the difference in gain obtained with a good partner compared to those gained with a bad partner. The above study introduces two parameters, beta and tau, to quantify these two rules. Beta represents, in the above model, the probability of meeting a partner at each time step for an agent. The larger beta is, the easier it is to find a partner. The parameter tau represents the probability that an interaction ends. The lower tau is, the longer the interactions take and the more engaging it is to accept to interact with one partner rather than another. Beta must be big with respect to tau for partner choice to be viable. How do these evolutionary game theory results translate into swarm robotics? In swarm robotics, the probability of meeting beta cannot be imposed by the experimenter. It depends on the environment as well as on the robot's ability to find each other, which varies during their learning process. Moreover, in robotics, we are not only interested in the meeting between two agents, but in the meeting of two agents on a resource to be exploited. This tripartite encounter is far less likely. We would therefore like to address the following questions. Can robots learn to cooperate through a mechanism of partner choice in swarm robotics? And how long must the interaction be to compensate for an apparently very high research cost due to the context of swarm robotics? To answer these questions, we built a pseudo-realistic model that I will now present to you. In our model, from 50 to 1000 robots are placed in a circular arena. These are the blue dots you can see on the right. In addition, 30 resource patches are scattered in this arena. These are the green dots. All of these robots move around and meet on the resources. When they meet, the agent can decide whether or not to interact with each other. If they interact together, they receive a payoff based on their own and their partner's investment. A robot's investment comes at a cost. I will detail all this in the next slides. The behavior of the agents, both the navigation, the partner choice mechanism, and the level of investment are determined by controllers specific to each robot that evolve over the generation. The simulation is divided into 200 generations of 100,000 time steps. Between each generation, an evolutionary algorithm is applied which will modify the controller of the agents. Now, let's focus on the agent behavior. Agents can be in two different modes. Let's focus first on the first mode, the seeker mode. When agents are seekers, they are looking for partners. This is the state in which they all start at the beginning of the evaluation. This behavior is learned through the evolutionary algorithm. When two seekers meet on a resource, they can decide whether or not to interact with the other agent present. To make this decision, a partner choice module is activated for the agent. This module receives in input the investment level of the robot itself as well as that of its partner. If at least one of the robots refuses, then the resource disappears and reappears elsewhere in the arena, and the two agents remain seekers without any gain. If both robots accept the interaction, then the resource is consumed and reappears elsewhere in the arena. Both agents gain a payoff based on their investments and enter into the wanderer state, the second possible state of the agents. These states model the performance of a complex task such as bringing the resources back to a home base. It is an ad hoc obstacle avoidance behavior. When an agent is in a wanderer state, it has at each time step the probability to become a seeker again and to be able to look for a new partner to interact with. Now, let's have a look at the payoff function. The game that the agent play when they agree to interact with each other is a variation of a two-player continuous prisoner's dilemma. The figure shows the agent's payoff as a function of its investment. The different curves represent different types of partners. The blue curve represents the agent's payoff when its partner defects. The orange curve shows the socially optimal payoff when agents play in a similar way, and the green curve represents the agent's payoff when its partner cooperates. The individually optimal investment XD is always 2.5. However, the socially optimal investment is XC 6.5. The orange curve represents the payoff obtained by an agent playing with a partner at its level. This is particularly interesting for the partner choice mechanism. Each agent wants to play with the best possible partner, therefore playing at least as well as they do. The optimum of the green curve cannot be reached with an efficient partner choice. Indeed, no cooperative agent would accept to play with an exploiter. Let's take a deeper look at the agent's controller. It is made up of three modules: the agent investment value, the navigation module, and the partner choice module. The investment value of the agent is a scalar. It is constant. The agent will always propose the same level of investment, whatever the level of its partner. The navigation module and the partner choice module are neural networks. The navigation module receives in input the value of the robot sensors, indicating the presence of other robots and resources, and gives in output the translational and rotational speed of the robots. It is active only when the robot is a seeker. The partner choice module is only active when the robot is with another robot on a resource. It receives as input the robot's own investment level and the partner's investment level. It outputs a binary yes-no value to accept the interaction. We use a fitness proportionate evolutionary algorithm. At the beginning of the simulation, all the robot controller weights are randomly drawn. Each robot has a different genome. The robots are then evaluated all together in the same environment. After 100,000 time steps, the agent's cumulative payoff represents their fitness. The agents produce their offspring in proportion to their fitness. A variation is then applied to each offspring, which are then evaluated again in this environment. This process is repeated 200 times. So, what results do we get from this model? First of all, can we get cooperative behavior from the robots? The figure on the left represents the average investment in the population at the 200th generation as a function of population size. In each condition, there are 24 simulations. In these conditions, the split rate is 0, which means that once their partner has been chosen, the robots will not be able to interact with another partner. This is the most favorable setup for partner choice. We find that when the population is large, the robots invest on average beyond the individually optimal investment and approach the socially optimal investment. This is not the case when the population is small. When the population is large, the probability of meeting beta is high, favoring cooperation by partner choice. To check that the cooperative behaviors come from the partner choice module, we deactivated the module in a control experiment. The results of this experiment are shown on the figure on the right. Without the ability to choose a partner, robots are no longer under pressure to cooperate in order to be chosen. They have no reason to invest more than the individually optimal value, and cooperative behaviors do not develop. Now, let's look at what happens when we vary the interaction time, represented by the split probability tau. In this figure, we plotted the average investments of agents in 24 simulations for different split probabilities values. The lower tau is, the longer the interactions are. For example, when tau is 0, the interactions are infinite. When tau is at 10 to the power of minus 5, the interaction lasts on average 100,000 time steps. And when tau is at 10 to the power of minus 2, the interaction lasts on average 100 time steps. When tau is small, the difference in payoff between interacting with a good partner and a bad partner is very large. There is a great interest in choosing a partner who is as cooperative as possible. There is therefore a very strong pressure to cooperate in order to be chosen as a partner, and agents invest beyond the individually optimal investment. This is no longer the case when tau is large and therefore interactions are very short. Finally, the literature on partner choice shows that the greater the variation in the level of investment by agent, the more partner choice is likely to develop. Indeed, there is a greater variety of good and bad partners in the population. This can be modeled by increasing the mutation strength of the investment value, as McNamara did in 2008. We find in our models that changing this factor has no impact on average. This can be explained by the existence of an already very large variability in the investment level at the beginning of our simulations. However, there is less investment variability between simulations when the mutation strength is higher. The greater mutation strength allows faster convergence toward equilibrium investment. In summary, we have shown that partner choice allows the learning of cooperative behaviors in swarm robotics. For this, it should be easy for the robots to find potential partners, and the benefit of interacting with a good partner rather than a bad partner should be important. We have thus shown that partner choice is an efficient mechanism for self-interested robots to act cooperatively, but with very important constraints. In addition, our result may be of interest to evolutionary biologists because we are interested in the evolution of partner choice in a complex environment requiring the coordination and matching of partners and resources. We then wish to study the partner choice mechanism using other learning algorithms for self-interested agents, such as classical reinforcement learning algorithm. Indeed, the problem of cooperation concerns all individual-centric learning algorithms and not only evolutionary algorithms. Finally, we want to focus more on the impact of the availability of resources in the environment. We believe that the presence or absence of resources has a very strong impact on the probability of meeting agents and thus on the efficiency of partner choice. Thank you all for your attention.